Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the puzzle fits. You say coloring activity right here. As you see right here, is I went ahead and drew you say a picture, say of a bridge right here, and then of course you got right here is the tunnel. It's like between say tunnel and bridge it is, and a lot of us will probably thinking about if you're gonna be. You say is that one way I look at it a lot of times is like that. If I want to go like what you call is like on like a road trip or maybe a walk, around the city or maybe the park somewhere, whatever it is. That a lot of times I notice that a lot of interesting things that more likely that you would like to see. Maybe if it could be what you call is like maybe a few boats and stuff like that, or maybe a few ducks, say in the river it is, and of course I went ahead and drew an example right here of of a bridge right here, but if you were to be what you call like you go right here is a duck right there, but if you were to be standing at about right here, from the bridge it's like you draw draw an actual person. If an actual person were to be standing at about right here it is, and just right there along the railing it is, and just you're watching the ducks it is, that knowing about that is a type of bridge that they could probably think with most of us who are probably thinking about. It's like the interstate highway, or if it's pedestrian crossing bridge, anything like that. That they more likely have something like that, to where that it will probably be on the side that with most bridges, I guess that they would probably build it on the side of the interstate, that lanes it is one one lane for trucker, for drivers it is, and then one that there will be a separate lane for like pedestrian walking if you be crossing a bridge, by bike or anything like that. And it kind of reminds me of a story that knowing about that they hear about some people on the news, that if they were to be what you call, like if I remember right, my parents even told me that they're on the 4th of July, it was that there was a bridge that crossed from St. Louis, I think, to Illinois. It was, and you would be able to buy fireworks in Illinois. I think it was that you can shoot them off, I guess, in St. Louis area. Back at the time, something like that. That some people say that that there would be a bridge that would cross the river, from two different states it is, and then you would be able to go over there, across the bridge, to be able to buy fireworks, or if you want to cross the bridge for any reason, that they go into another state, and then to go ahead and take care of some whatever it is that a lot of people are thinking about. That how many times have you crossed the river before, and what's the necessary purpose to why you would need to cross the river, cross the ocean or whatever. But on the other hand too, to knowing about, as I talk about with the puzzle fits, it is that knowing about that the type of design. It's like we were probably thinking about that. I used to always think that knowing about about bridges and overpasses, and of course with tunnels, that a lot of times that I used to a lot of times, and I still do, of course, that knowing about that of course if you've been on them before, is knowing about that I think that they were pretty neat looking, and knowing about that types of work it is, that knowing about the types of road transportation. I can maybe picture maybe by the year 2018, maybe 19 it is, maybe the next 5 years from now, is knowing about, it's like they could probably think about is a design tunnel right here. You have right here is a design tunnel, and the tunnel right here that you could probably think about if it exceeds at about so you got the road right here, and then of course go ahead and use a little bit see the Cortelia. See here, got right here is the Barnes Signoria. See the type of brown type crayon right here, but go ahead and add a little bit. I say brown kind of brown looking type of color right here for the tunnel. But anyway, that you have right here is the tunnel, and probably thinking about that make it, go ahead and make it kind of dark. It is knowing about that kind of dark, and of course I'm only working with like 5 different colors here. Got that, it's like the red. You got the red, and then of course you can see light green. But go ahead and then color in. Of course you got right here a dark part of the tunnel right here, and then this tunnel right here would be about I guess with most of them that they probably say they build a tunnel, and what's the reason? Maybe because it's like knowing about that they go underneath the river. And a lot of times with most tunnels, it's like a few people that drive on them. And then of course, if they were to ride the subway, then a lot of times you're probably thinking about, it's like if they go right underneath the river, I'm like you, they go right underneath the ground at least about 300 or 400 feet, something like that. I would say that in order to be able to build them, that they would go, quite, a bit far underneath the ground, to go below, the river level it is, and at the time you'll wonder about that. Yeah, they'll ever wonder about that. That yeah, if any problems with any leaks, down there, whatever it is in the river, in the tunnels and stuff like that. So far as talking about with like the subway tunnels, metro tunnels, and stuff like that. The transportation area, places like that. If they were to build a tunnel, is knowing about that. What all that they're made out of. Of course, if that's all, say, type of concrete, where there could be like a new material that they may, structure later on, say, so far as, for like tunnels and bridges and stuff. But that right there is the red, and then go ahead and work a little bit right here with the orange. But right here is the road, that goes to the tunnel, and a lot of us probably thinking about that right there is the tunnel, and what could be, go ahead and use it as the green, but what could be at about right here, like knowing about you have right here is maybe some grasslands right here. It's like knowing about where the tunnel, where does it lead and stuff, and people probably thinking about that you go into like what you call a small town, and then there's a tunnel that leads to, say, a big city. It's like knowing about that with the tunnel it is, huh? Yeah, it runs on the ground, and more likely the chance that the people will drive inside there, drive on it, more likely, maybe if it gets to their destination, much quicker, whatever it is. But on the other hand, too, that knowing about is that really that with most tunnels, there may be some people. I guess it's all a matter of getting used to it. If they're going to be building tunnels, it is, and a lot of times if they do build a tunnel, then more likely they could probably think it's mainly for like the metro services and stuff. But if they're going to be building a tunnel to where the actual interstate lanes, as I talk about with drivers, it is that if they were to be driving inside the tunnels, and knowing about if they would wanted to avoid any traffic lights, or if they wanted to avoid any type of what's called delay, say in traffic, it is. And a lot of times we say with the puzzle fits, is talking about, it's like really, talk about the missing piece. Of course, is the puzzle. Like, what are we missing here? Well, go ahead and add what you call maybe a traffic light up here, up on the bridge. It is, but a lot of people probably think about that. With the traffic light, it is. And a lot of times I remember, used to seeing bridges and stuff like that, knowing about that. You got right there is with the traffic light, but you see the bridge, highlighted in like a green type color. It is, but anyway, go ahead and add like a little boat right here. But anyway, a lot of things that more likely they may come to your mind, just to get you a good start if you thinking about drawing a shape or something like that, and then knowing about the different things that maybe you would want to add to the picture later on. But this guy right here is the boat, and then with the boat is that knowing about that the types of things that maybe you would want to see if you were to be crossing the bridge. It is, and but I notice a lot of times that if anybody were to be going to visiting at some town or some place, it is that more likely that they would maybe want to detour somewhere, and then maybe go across the bridge. I know even on the video games I played, that a lot of times it's like going about, it's like like try to go across the bridge, or maybe to drive on the tunnel or anything like that, or if it's what you call is like maybe to cross the river or anything like that. Any games I can maybe think about. Of course, I can maybe think of a few of them, like say, other than it's like Grand Theft Auto, I can maybe even think about. It's like the games like maybe Midnight Club, or any like Project Gotham Racing, or any type of racing game. A lot of times, any racing games, and then of course any other type of games that more likely where you can actually drive and drive the vehicles and drive the boats and stuff like that. But on the other hand too, to knowing about it, Because like with the bridges and of course with the tunnels it is, and we can also think about is that whenever you with the tunnels it is knowing about between the rocky roads, and then of course with the over it's like between overpasses it is, if you be a lot of times that there may be some people that may think about if they want to take a detour somewhere, that more likely that they may check out the interesting things related to which say a certain city it is. You know, such as it's like if there was go ahead and use the purple here, but if there was like what you call is like a place where you can actually pull up, and it's like if you be crossing say the river it is, there was a place where you can pull up and actually view, you know, from what was down on the river banks it is. But all right, and that go ahead and color it in a little bit right here so you have the river. But anyway, but so far as talk about with puzzle fits is you have right here is that, you know, adding things like knowing about, we get yourself an idea for what you want to use so far, if it's tunnels or if it's bridges and stuff like that, and then of course with boats. But other than that, it's talking about, it's like knowing about, you know, the type of puzzle. The type of puzzle is that knowing about to get yourself some ideas for, you know, the thing about it's like knowing about, it's like, you know, the subject matter of knowing about, really, does this interest you, or does it interest me, or just, you know, maybe interest all of us, just knowing about, you know, the study about knowing about that, yeah, that yeah, with this type of activity, we could probably think about that. You know, this is more likely what I would probably maybe want to do later on. Right here is something that maybe crosses the river. That you know, maybe that, you know, take a detour, like go over the river, or maybe, you know, say go into the big building, go into the museum, whatever it is, go across, you know, go into the tunnel. It is. But so far, let's talk about with the puzzle fits, and it's like the puzzle fits activity coloring.